preschool peeps, we're back. And as you know, if you've been listening to How Preschool Teachers Do It, either on your podcast provider or watching us on YouTube, we've been trying to come up with a name for like, welcome to the special episodes during COVID-19 times. And now we have this episode and the next episode as extra special episodes because we're going to depart a little bit from talking about the very here and now and talk a little bit about the future. In the past couple of days, things have happened in the news in the area in which Alison and I live that have a lot of people talking about the end of this school year and the beginning of a potential other school year, maybe in September, or maybe if there's going to be some kind of summer programs, we don't even know. And to catch people up who may not be aware around the country, in case you don't know, it was this past week that New York's Governor Cuomo announced that New York schools will be closed for the balance of the academic year and that they'll be making a decision about summer in the coming weeks. My governor, Governor Murphy, where I live in New Jersey, is making an announcement allegedly on Monday, but now that Cuomo made his announcement, I think we all know how for sure that's going. No one really expected to be going back, I think, this school year at this point. However, these announcements in our area have caused a lot of chatter about how are we going to end this school year then to have closure, and what do we do looking toward potential summer, which even is highly unlikely, I think, and looking towards September, and who knows how likely that is. So Alison and I decided that we need to take this moment in time and take advantage of these episodes that we are preparing so close to the news happening and speak to that. So this episode is going to speak to how we end this crazy school year. We've also gotten messages from fans of this podcast having to do with ending the school year. I've been talking with teachers about ideas for it this past week, particularly after Governor Cuomo made his announcement. Isn't there a saying, I don't know, I could be making this up. Maybe my family made it up because we're New Yorkers, but isn't there some saying about how New York goes, so does the country, or something like that? Or does my family just think that?
No, actually, I think people in this area think that, but I think it's accurate because pretty much it's true.
Pretty much, so I know that there are parts of the country that are looking to reopen sooner than ours, and I want to acknowledge that. I was speaking with some early childhood professionals who are in California this week, and they were talking about regulations that are now being put out as they look toward reopening childcare. We're going to talk about these sorts of things in our next episode. So I know they're probably going to reopen before us. Of course, there are areas of the country now who have reopened certain businesses before we have, and everybody's going to be at a slightly different stage. But many states have already announced before now that they are not going to reopen for this academic year and that they will be considering plans for the future. So this whole question of it's now May, I think that's another thing that prompted these conversations. What are we doing? Also, Alison, did you hear there were some school districts or states who said, that's it, we're ending the school year early.
Yes.
They're like going to be done real quick. So
some of them are already done, I think.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important at this juncture that we interrupt not regularly scheduled stuff anyway to talk about it. And so what we decided was I'm going to share an idea that I've shared with several people now, and then Alison is going to bounce off that with some other things. I do agree with professionals who are saying to me, I think the children need closure to this school year. We all do. I think we all need some kind of closure, and I think if we design it well, it can be a very positive closure, but I don't think this year's school closure is the absolute, or should be, the absolute end. So let me describe what that means. I do think we need to plan an end of the crazy school year Zoom session or whatever it is you're using. And we could do really uplifting things. I like the theme, a theme that's sort of like, we did it. We made it. We made it. We did it. And I think that sort of focus on, look at what a great team we've been online, and And we've done so much wonderful stuff together. You know, I think that that sort of focus would be great. And so if you have a theme like, we did it, we made it, and we ask families maybe one day as their activity to work with their children to make a we made it decoration for your Zoom session party, because then at least it's educational. They're doing fine motor, right? And they're writing maybe, and they're holding writing things. So it's something that's still educational, and we tell families to please make a decoration and have your child's favorite snack ready, and we're gonna eat together, and we're gonna have a dance party on our Zoom to celebrate, and we're gonna talk about the fun things we did online together, and maybe some of the things we did before we were online, and how great summer is gonna be. And it has to be really positively focused that way. I think what we have to recognize, though, is that families have come to depend on, some of them anyway, the ones who are participating particularly, have come to depend on our online sessions and our contact as a steady, predictable thing in their lives. That has helped them in a lot of cases, their mental health, the mental health of their children. I think that in some cases, the families are going to miss these online sessions even more possibly than their very young children, because it was something they could count on. It was another adult contact. It entertained their children. And I think it is humane to figure out something that we can give them over the summer. I think people need to consider giving them two things. People need to consider keeping a door open. Now, I know that summer is not a time when teachers are contracted to work necessarily, but I think we need to say something like this to families. If you need me, I am here. You know how to reach me. Reach out and I can steer you in the right direction. Because even just saying that doesn't slam a door in their faces that they have come to depend upon. I think we also have to think about the fact that the families and children will need us this summer in a way they have never needed us before. So if we spend the time now in May and the beginning of June preparing videos that we can send to them or post on a YouTube channel so that the families can have their children watch those videos at will over the summer. You don't have to be live, but we can have videos. I think that would be wonderful. I think any outreach that people could still do at any moment to just say, hey, thinking of you, I hope the family and all is well, is going to be very significant. I just don't think it's an act of kindness to slam the door on our last day of June, knowing how much people are struggling. And likewise, families who have not joined our sessions, who have been overwhelmed and or unable, should still in some way hear from us in the summer, even if it's not as frequent and it's not. I at this time when we're so in need of these connections and dependable people to connect with, I can't imagine shutting the door. And I know Alison may feel differently because I'm a consultant. Alison's a school year teacher. So I'm going to kind of turn this over to Alison now for her thoughts about it. So go ahead.
I fully actually agree with you, but I understand where a lot of teachers might not agree with that. But I do agree with that. But I'm one that kind of keeps in contact with a lot of the parents over the summer to begin with. Not one to always like slam the door. I think the whole what you said about maybe making a video and making it available and they can watch it whenever they want, I think that's a great idea, because then it makes it on the teachers to be like, you don't have to be live at this time. And I think maybe some teachers want to let go of that. So make a video. You can make it in your own time and blast it out through an email and say, hey, here's the link. If you want to watch it, great. If you don't, no big deal. I also don't think it's that bad of an idea to necessarily, I think maybe you could say, hey, every Friday at noon, I'll be on here live if you need to chat. And then if children come on and parents come on, great. You can just chat with them. And if they don't, then that's fine too. But just still being available, because I think they're still going to need those connections even over the summer. And I think it'll make it easier for them to come back to school in September if we do have school, or even if it is school on virtual learning, then it'll be a little bit easier for them. I like your idea about the Zoom party. I think there needs to be some sort of like closure or transition into summer mode. You know, if you're going to still continue to do meetings or videos with them, but this will be like, okay, we're going into like not our daily, what we were doing. Now we're going to go into like maybe a weekly or just a video. But I think they need some sort of celebration of like, hey, we did it. We survived. We did it.
So far, so good with this online schooling as best we can.
We did it, and we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to be fine. You know, because I can't see you having it be like just a normal day on the last day and then them just never seeing you again. I think you need to talk them through it a little bit and say, hey, we did some really awesome things this year while we were together in person and online. We did some really awesome things. We did this, you know, and here's what you can look forward to in the summer if you're a teacher that wants to do the videos or the live sessions. And here's what you can look forward to in September, as best as you can describe that, because we have no idea what's going to happen.
We have no idea. Yeah. And honestly, as I see regulations come out from other states having to do, particularly with the preschool ages, I'm like, how is that going to work? But we're going to talk about that in the future. Yeah. I think I totally understand teachers not being live online in the summer. I really do. But we have, hopefully some of you have a window of time now where you can prepare brief videos to post or to send or something where they can still see you over the summer and have a connection that they have learned to depend on. That's the thing. Yes. This is so different also than any other summer. Any other summer, we would know, like, they're at the beach, they're on vacation with families, they're having play dates, they're at the playground, they're interacting in a really fun way with their same age peers. That's not this summer, folks. So I think we have to give this so much thought. Like, they still need some guidance, even if it's pre-recorded. So what if it's pre-recorded? Yeah. I think we need to give this a lot of thought about how we can maintain the good we've been doing. Yeah. Because this summer is not a time when it's less needed. It's more needed. The weather's going to be beautiful and they can't go run around the playground. Like,
it's going to be beautiful and teachers can't do that either. So yes. I feel like, in a way, even for myself, it's going to be difficult to just be like, okay, door closed, done. I'm never going to see you ever again. When I never really got to say fully goodbye to them in March when we closed school.
That's true.
You know, so like,
that's true.
I feel like I also might need it. I might not want it on a daily basis where I'm going on live at 9 o'clock every day. But I think I would like to say, hey, every, I don't know, Friday I'll be on here if you want to just hang out and talk, you know, because I think, first off, what else am I going to be doing? Because there's nothing to do on the summer. And what are they going to be doing? They have nothing. They can't go to the playground. They can't go on vacation.
I don't know if any
beach house. They can't go to they can't go visit relatives. You're the only person they might have.
I don't know if any of the restrictions will be loosened as the summer proceeds. It's possible, but it's still going to be mask wearing and distancing, and it's going to be that for a long time.
And that's
I remember in the beginning.
It's really scary, and you could be the comfort for them.
You could be. You know, I remember in March, it's May already, it's unbelievable. I remember in March saying, when we first had the notion that schools might close, my first instinct was to say, and I did say this out loud to people, there's no way they can keep schools closed more than 2 weeks. People need schools open. Kids need schools. There's no way they can do that. And then as the reality of this threat started to become more understandable and apparent, and the numbers, and we saw the exponential increasing of numbers, and now where we are, we're seeing the flattening of this curve because of what we've done. The reality of this has me thinking about the alternatives more as we head toward summer in September.
Yeah.
And I think one of those alternatives has to be, again, even if it's a pre-recorded thing that we do now, unlike summers in the past, there needs to be a maintenance of some semblance of contact and routine. You know, families can decide if we post, we'll give them videos for the summer. Let's say I gave them 5 or 6 videos. They can decide to play it at the same time every day. And then the kids still have this routine. I just think we have to, in this time, in so many ways, we have to put the love that we have for children and the acts of kindness ahead of a lot of other things.
We need to be there for each other, and this is one way you can be there for not just the kids, but for the parents. You know,
I also believe, as the states keep saying to the federal government that they need to continue stimulus packages to the states to continue to pay not only healthcare workers and other essential workers, but also educators. That the educators need to make sure that we are doing things that continue to say, look at the important work we are doing. Look at how valuable we are.
Yeah.
Right? And I think part of that is even giving pre-recorded things for the summer and saying, here's something that you can maintain with your child. In those pre-recorded things, though, I'm wondering if we do need to talk about the children having a new teacher soon.
Yeah.
I think that those pre-recordings can focus children on change for the future. Yeah. You know, that you may be connecting with a new teacher, and that this change is going to be good. And in the meantime, let's sing this song together or whatever. You know, I think we need to be very strategic in our interaction too, so that we're not setting children up for another shock when another adult gets on.
Well, I think that's going to be really, really hard, especially if we're not in live building school, like in the like, if it's all of a sudden like, hey, you have Alison as your teacher all the way up until now, and then all of a sudden in September you're going back on this remote learning, but it's a different teacher. I think that's going to be really hard for those kids. Right. And I think it's going to be hard for teachers to have like new kids that they've never even met. They have no idea who they are. And then you're just seeing them on a screen. I mean, I think that's going to be really hard. So I think trying to transition them for that, like prepare them for that transition is key.
Yes. And it's going to be daunting. It's going to be daunting.
Yeah.
This whole thing from the viewpoint of an educator, as you well know, has been, oh my gosh, what's a good word? Daunting. I'm going to say it again. I need another word. Daunting is the word I keep coming up with. This has been an unbelievable exercise in brain work and creativity. And
it's been a lot. It's taken a lot of brain power. It's taken a lot of energy. I don't know about y'all, but I've been like exhausted every day.
I've been exhausted. You know what I did today? I posted an article that I read this morning. I got up this morning. There was this article on my Facebook feed, and I thought, oh my God, this explains it all. So I've posted it in my page on Facebook. My page is Cindy Tarabush. Yeah. You'll find it. If you search my name, you should find my page. Not my personal one, but my professional page. It says Cindy Tarabush, early childhood consultant, author, or something. I don't know. So if you go in there and you find it, you'll see an article that's written about Zoom fatigue. Why do we have Zoom fatigue? And it talks about what our brains are struggling to do with this interaction on Zoom versus when we're in person. And it completely explains why I am exhausted at the end of a Zoom day.
Yeah.
In addition to the amount of thinking this is all taking in new ways, these are new ways of thinking how to educate. These are also new ways of communication that take different skills than we're used to. So go on and find my page on Facebook, folks, and read that article, because it's eye-opening. And I read it and went, yep, That's why I find this more exhausting than the
It is
traveling and everything.
absolutely more exhausting. And I couldn't figure that out because I'm like, I'm home. I don't have to commute. I don't have to get up earlier. I don't even have to really fully get dressed if I don't want to. Like, it's
I
just
know.
like, why
And yet
am
I'm
I?
exhausted.
Yeah, like every night I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to bed early. Like, I don't, why? Like I had way more
Read
energy
the
when I
article.
was, yeah, I'm going to, because I don't understand. But I also think it's like, it's the emotional draining that gets
Well,
you.
yes.
Because there's sometimes as much as I love seeing my kids, you know, online, sometimes I hang up and I'm like, oh my God, like, cause so much emotions went in, like, I'm never going to see them again, or I'm there, or, oh my God, that was hard, or, hey, that went great. Any kind of emotion, you're just like, it's like extreme, you know, it's not just like, oh, I'm, you know, a little bit satisfied that went well. Instead, you're like, well, this is great. It went well. Or, oh my God, that was just, let's just close this lid. And it just zaps everything out of you, you know.
Well, our
and
emotions are extreme. We talked about that on the last episode of this podcast, about our windows of tolerance and why we become hyper aroused or hypo aroused. And you can watch that last
let me just tell you
episode to learn
that episode, because I didn't know anything about that before that episode, so Cindy was kind of teaching me too. I've learned what to do now to stay within my window of tolerance. And I did that this week. So Alison watches a lot less news.
2 thumbs up.
Okay. And that did it. So this week, for me, that was really a trigger. And I don't think I really paid attention to that being a trigger, because I was just like, well, I need to know all the information. And I realized, like, no, you don't need all of it right then and there. And that really helped me. So anybody who's having trouble emotionally or with stress or anything, watch that episode, because it really will help. But you got to figure out what keeps you within your window.
Yeah.
So that might be a trial and error kind of thing. But you
and I think
once you're in that window, it's like lovely. It's like, ooh, this is great.
And I do think we have an obligation to help families with that over the summer, even though we may not be present live. I really think we have an obligation to say, here's some things you can do and use and show your children.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. You know, they're saying Governor Cuomo said they haven't made any decisions about summer sessions yet. I'm very interested in what they're going to do with that. If they're going to be online, at least it maintains connection for some children.
Well, I heard they might do, because I had an IEP meeting this week for one of my kids, and they were saying that the extended school year, the summer school, might be virtual, that's what they're planning right now. But there's been no official word, but they're planning for that, so that those kids that need the services can at least get them online as best they can.
This is so hard.
They are planning, at least in my district, that's what they're planning for. If they can open, they'll probably do it, but like, I don't foresee that happening. But
the special needs children and families. Oh my gosh. I just hope that the teletherapies are helping, and just know that there are so many people who understand that you need so much more than can happen right now. And sometimes we just have to say, you know, everyone is doing the best that they can in their moment. The families are, I think the teletherapists are, this is so terrible. So anyway,
so hard.
Let's not end this episode the way that we are, because we want to end it uplifting. Like, we want people to end their school years uplifting, right? So let's end it a little uplifting. And I'm going to do that by saying that I have been the recipient of random acts of kindness in these days. And I took a walk with my husband yesterday. We had beautiful weather here, and parks had reopened, and we said, let's see what the park is like. And we actually watched first before we got out of the car. Most people were wearing masks, as they were requested to do. People were pretty much, for the most part, social distancing where I was. And I'll tell you what, it's even the little things. Like, we were walking over a bridge that's rather narrow, and my husband and I stepped aside so that another couple could exit the bridge safely without coming so close to us. So we stepped off the path to let them do that. And this couple looked at us and were like, thank you so much for letting us pass. And we said, you're welcome. All from behind the mask. You can't smile at people anymore and have them see it, right? So they were just like, thank you so much for letting us pass. And I said, you're very welcome. That moment of recognition for the fact that we moved aside was enough for me. It was uplifting that someone was so grateful that we moved aside. So be sure to be out there saying thank you to people who are moving over for you. Consider what random acts of kindness you can do for people, because I think more than ever, at this stage, week 8 for me and for Alison, I believe week 8 of this, I think the positivity is going to come from doing good deeds and being the recipient of good deeds. So the more, the better. And I plan to think about what I can do when I have to go out on my necessary errands. What can I do that would be nice for somebody else? Because I think it's going to make me as happy as them. Right. So
even
hopefully
even if it's like
focus that way.
a little note. I got a little email from a parent this week. He had wanted all the lessons in a weekly format rather than a daily, but at the end he wrote, "Just so you know, you're doing a great job. Thank you for everything you're doing." And I was like, oh my God, that's so nice. It kind of refueled me. So even if the only act of kindness you can do is to write a little note to somebody, or even like a text, say, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," that helps a lot. It helped me, at least. I mean, I'm sure it's helping a lot of people. Like anytime I get a little text message or an email from somebody say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you're okay," just uplifts me a little bit. So if that's the only thing you can do, then do it. You know, so.
Sorry about that interruption. I apparently didn't turn off my, I did turn on my do not disturb while we're recording.
I didn't even hear it.
You didn't hear anything? That's good. Okay. So we are going to sign off. We've gone way long, but I think it was an important topic. And I hope everybody will subscribe so that you will hear our next episode, which is going to be about next steps and what should be our focus in the next stage. So please do tune us back in, recommend us, share us, rate us, subscribe to us, do all those really acts of kindness for the podcast. And we will catch you on the next episode of How Preschool Teachers Do It. Take good care, preschool peeps.
Bye.